So, yes, division is the same thing as multiplication by the reciprocal. So we got 7 over 10, that would be multiplied by 14 over 3. Okay? So you need to do both of these, and again, it's always the second one, not the first one. And then make sure we are trying to reduce the best we can. We'll divide each by 2, that would be 7 over 5. So 7 times 7 is 49, 5 times 3 is 15. Okay? Now, this always comes up. B. Look at B. Okay, I know the rule now. I got you. So, if it says 9 6/5 divided by 9 over 10 times 1 over 2, do I flip both of those? No, you don't. Okay, you just flip the one beside it. So it'd be 6/5 times 10 over 9. Right? I did both of those. Times 1 over 20. Okay, so remember, stayed the same. Okay, and just for sake of time today, we're not going to go through and solve every one of these. You can even put that in your calculator. Now C, you want to do the work in brackets first. So it's 6 over 5 divided by. Now the work in brackets would be 9 over 200, correct? 9 times 1 is 9. 10 times 20 is 200. Now, after you've done BEDMAS, remember BEDMAS? Now, 6 over 5 times 200 over 9. Okay, and we're not going to go find the answer to that one either. We'll just start with the, we're out of grade 8 mode, now we got to get to grade 11 mode. Okay, now this one says do not solve for the restrictions, but we're going to, because I want you to be in the habit of doing that always. Okay, so right away we have a situation with a multiplication and a division sign. Just flip the second one. So this would be, instead of this, it would be times negative 21 z to the 4 over 10x squared y squared. Okay? So I'm just saving rewriting the entire question again. Okay? Now, the good thing about crossing that thing out is I'm not going to get mixed up with it, right? Here's the bad thing. Do you see right here? What was the non-permissible here? Z cannot equal 0, correct? It will be a non-permissible all the way through. Now this one kind of works out in your favor because you would say, oh, that one Z's not allowed to be 0, so you'd catch yourself. But watch out. If any time in the question there is a non-permissible in the denominator, even if you save it, you're like, Mr. Trimble, it's not in the denominator anymore. I got it up top. I saved it. I put it up top. Doesn't matter. If it was ever a non-permissible, it is always a non-permissible for this question. Okay? And that is the first thing you always have to make sure you do when you go to non-permissibles, is go to the original question. And to see how that X or that Z or whatever was on the bottom, it was a non-permissible there. Even though I did the reciprocal, it originally was bad, so it's always going to be bad for this question. Okay? Now, any numbers that I can do some good stuff with. Oh, here's another thing I recommend. Wherever you do not see an exponent, put a, like on any of the variables. If there's no exponent there, put what? Ones. I'll tell you, more people miss adding and subtracting variables, the exponents on them, doing that. They forget. They just don't add it because it's like not there. But let's just do the numbers. Is there any numbers I can reduce? Negative 5 and 15. So this would be negative 1 and 3. And if you need to, circle them. So you're like, okay, that's the last number I'm using there. Anything else? 2 and 10, right? So that's out. That would be 5, and make sure you put a 1 there. 7 and negative 21, right? So that will be a 1 down here and a negative 3 here. Yeah, see, there's that one there. So that's crossed out. That's going to be a negative 1 and a 1. Okay? So all we're doing is cleaning up the mess. So up top now, I am left with, so it's 1 on the bottom, 5. Now, ooh, I forgot a 1. I'm going to put a 1 there over that. Okay? Now let's just get variables together on the top. How many x's up top? Huh? 1. So we got x to the 1. Y's I have 3, and z's I have 5. Now on the bottom, x's I have, good, 4. Y's I have 2, and z's 3. Where? What? Which power? Which? On the top, because negative 1 times 1 is negative 1 times negative 1 is positive. Okay, cool. Okay, now, you see how we're going to have our 1/5? How many? Do you see how we have 1, x, and 4? So this would be x to the 3 here, right? Because that would cancel, and that would become a 3. Y to the 1, and y would be up top, wouldn't it? Because it was bigger up there. And z to the okay, and non-permissibles, x cannot equal 0, right? Here, y cannot equal 0. And there's 2 places, here and here. Z cannot equal 0, right? So z cannot equal 0. So are we learning anything new today? No. You knew that multiplication, or division, sorry, was multiplication by the reciprocal, and then we have done all of the, after you do that, we've done all those steps on the quiz today and in the last objective. Okay, next example we're going to do is, we're going to come down and we're going to do 4b. Okay, now you know this right here? That's like a whole, that long line means divided by, right? So if we want to rewrite this question, does everybody see that this would be times, let's bring that bottom thing up. That would be times what? Right, x plus 4 squared over 3x squared plus 9x. Okay? Now, this is gone, right? Actually, I shouldn't use, I'm going to use a big dot, okay? So you don't get my x's mixed up with my time signs. What's the only thing when I cross that out I got to be really careful about? That restriction. X cannot equal negative 4, can't. And there's nothing wrong with just kind of making notes, okay? Oh yeah, right there. X cannot equal negative 4. Like you can do it. In step 1, that was bad. Now remember, if it was bad, it's always bad. So you can't go, but look, I saved it. We put it up top, and you told me, everyone likes to do it, you told me that if it's on the top, that's not a non-permissible. And I'll say, yeah, but it was on the bottom at one time, so it was permissible. Okay? Now, what should I do next? Take out common factors. Okay? So, 4a plus 12, 4x plus 12, I should say. Take out a 4 would leave me with x plus 3. Okay? Remember, this isn't here anymore, right? But, man, it'd be nice to have a pen that did clear. That's sweet. Okay, let's factor 3x plus 12. Take out a 3, x plus 4. What's x plus 4 squared? X plus 4 times x plus 4. In the bottom, take out a 3x. Good. X plus 3. And don't tell me this part isn't fun. Okay? We're at this point, we're just trying to get rid of stuff, right? We got an x plus 4 down here, x plus 4 over there. We got an x plus 3 there. We got an x plus 3 there. Okay, so now we have 4 bracket x plus 4 all over 3 times 3x, which is 9x. Okay, we've already said x cannot equal negative 4 from the original. What else? 0, good. And negative 3. I like that. It's always easier when the teacher does it, right? Okay, now look at B on the next one. Now let's face it, this looks like a horror, right? I won't lie to you, it is. But let's just do the brackets first, okay? Now, let's just look at the 11m cubed minus 11m. What can I do there? Take out 11m. Leave me with m squared minus 1. Okay, that's like an insult to your intelligence at this point, right? Is everybody looking at that by now? See, with experience comes, m squared minus 1, x squared minus 1. Seen it so many times. Difference of squares, right? So it's kind of small here, but it's going to be 11m, m minus 1, m plus 1, right? Okay, now let's move down. Okay, so 2m squared minus m minus 3. Okay, so remember, for this one, we're looking for two things that add to give me negative 1 and multiply to give me negative 6. Negative 3 and 2. Now remember, this is a type 2, so we got to go 2m squared minus 3m minus, or plus 2m minus 3. Okay, now put your brackets. I can take just an m out, leave me with 2m minus 3. The next one, I can just take out a 1, leave me with 2m minus 3. So this becomes 2m minus 3 and m plus 1. Okay, so remember, that's all this, right? These are both the same. Is there any more factoring? Now, is there any factoring I'd take out of 2m plus 3 or m minus 1? No, because then I'll have negative 2m plus 3, and I can't cancel there. Okay, so what is canceling though? I got an m plus 1 will cancel with the m plus 1 that I just made. And an m minus 1 canceling with this m minus 1 over here. So on this entire side now, what do I got? I got 11m times 2m plus 3 all over 2m minus 3. Okay, so because this is division, let's make it multiplication. So that would be times 2m minus 3 over 11m times 2m plus 3. Yep. We're gonna have to look here, and then later, then we'll look here, and then here. Any denominator all the way through. Now this is this, right? So that's why I'll look here, I'm going to look here, and I'm going to look here. Okay? Now, let's just do the here. What can I factor out anything on the top of that one? So that would 10, do better than that. Yeah, 10m. That would be 2m plus 3, right? How about on the bottom of that fraction? Difference of squares. Now, what is it though? Right. You know what I'm getting? Students giving me 2m minus 3, 2m plus 3. You can see why they're doing that, right? But it's really going to mess with you. Remember, that one's backwards, so yours kind of has to be backwards too. So it is 3 minus 2m, 3 plus 2m. Okay, anything we can do? 2m plus 3's, we can cancel those two. Yeah, if we took a negative out of 3 minus 2m, like out of here, if we pulled a negative out, this would be negative 3 plus 2m, right? And that cancels with anything else? Yeah, the m's cancel. Now again, you know what 10m means? It means 10 times m. We can always cancel factors. If it's multiplying to something, you can take it. Okay? So now we are left with, look at now there's this minus sign here, right? Minus 1, don't forget about it. So we have negative, on top there's just a 10, and on the bottom, 11 times 3 plus 2m. Or 2m plus 3, whatever you want. Okay? Now, last thing though, it's non-permissibles. So going right, like there's over here, right? This factor to be this, remember? So, what would be bad here? Negative 3 over 2m. How about here? 3 over 2 would be bad, so we have to have plus or minus. 3 over 2, we won't forget about that one. Okay, now let's look here. That's this. We've got the 3 over 2 count. How about this one? Negative 1 would be bad there, right? Positive 1 would be bad here. Am I missing any? 0 would be bad here. So you got to like go hunting, right? So m equals plus or minus 1, or cannot equal, I should say, and plus or minus 3 over 2 and 0. Okay, now do you see how, like, no one likes to throw the word around perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? But you have to be perfect on these. Like, really, I mean, you forget one negative sign. Oh, negative sign, just one little negative sign. Well, it's all wrong if you forget one little negative sign, right? If you forget to cancel something, or you take something out weird, or you forget to take something out, it gets tough, right? So, okay, now this one here, it's fractions that are added and subtracted together, okay, divided by each other. So we have to do these, we have to do the addition subtraction of the last unit, and then, so I'm just going to work sideways here. Now we do have to find the restrictions, so I'm going to do that, but I just want to get that out of the way, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my top together, and then I'm going to add my bottom together. So you can just do it above and below. It just makes my notes a little clearer. So I'm going to add the top. Now, what do you have to do to add? Common denominator. What's the common denominator of a and 2a plus 1? A times 2a plus 1. So I'm going to go this a times 2a plus 1 minus that over a 2a plus 1. Because I can't add those two together until I have a common denominator. Okay, what do I have to do to 10? What do I have to multiply it by? 2a plus 1. So that's 10 times 2a plus 1. Okay? How about 12? What do I have to multiply it by? Multiply by a. So, remember, this is all going to be over a times 2a plus 1. So, I will have, I'm going to just get this. This is 10a, or 20a, I should say. 20a plus 10 minus 12a. Now, someone in the last class right away, I'll take out a common factor at the top. Yeah. But let's actually combine the like terms first, because we can get the a's together, right? So that's going to be 8a plus 10 all over a plus 2a plus 1. Okay? Now I can take out a common factor, right? Which would be, take out a 2, which would be 4a plus 5 all over a times 2a plus 1. Okay, the bottom, the division, it's got to be divided. So this is 4 over 1, right? What's the common denominator of the two? No, denominator, a, right? So I don't have to do anything to 5, but I do have to multiply 4 by a, right? So this would equal 5 plus 4a all over a. Okay, so basically I can boot this right down to the end, and that's 5 plus 4a all over a. Okay, so really that's what my question is. Now division is the same thing as multiplication by the reciprocal, right? So can I just write that again? 2 times 4a plus 5 all over a times 2a plus 1. That's going to be times, and I'm going to flip that, a over 5 plus 4a. What do you want to do now? Okay. 4 plus 5a is the same thing as 5 plus 4a. And the a's, so then I'm left with 2 over 2a plus 1. A cannot equal. Okay, 0. Negative. Negative 5/4 is bad here. And negative a half is bad here. And the other denominators that we missed. Looks good. So it cannot equal negative a half. And it cannot equal negative 5/4. Okay, so 1 to 10, just do the A, C, E, dot, dot, dot. And you can omit 5, 9, and 10. So I haven't given you many questions because they're pretty in-depth. So work through them slowly. You guys, I can't believe how nice it would have to have the answers long form right beside you. So as you're working and you miss a negative, like doing 6 more steps and you missed a negative up there, it's pretty frustrating. So do a step and look and go, oh yeah, you know, it's like you get it. And it's just having, you know, when I'm walking around, you guys love when I look at your quizzes and help you out and the whole thing. Well, I got the same thing going for you for the homework. And I know, hopefully you're not just going to copy it down. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, that's what I would have done. Oh, easily. Oh, yeah. Hey, that's the same thing I would have done. Okay, done. Yay, finish that one. Okay, and then I quiz you, and it's like you had 6 out of 5 in your homework, and you failed your quiz. Okay, so use it as a learning tool, not as a doing for you tool, because your quizzes and exams make up 95% of the unit. So if you get 100 on your homework, but you don't know how to do the rest, you can see why that doesn't work out in your favor. Okay?